Pudding.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Crisan. For those of you who are new here, I noticed that we have some new subscribers. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I hope that you stay for good because we're all about the growth over here. But in today's video, we are going to be doing just a little sit down because it's been a while since I've done one of these. Also, I've always wanted to do the 25 by 25 type of video, and that's what this video is going to be today. I do have my little book here, and I have literally three pages of stuff here, but I'm not going to be spending a lot of time on each of them. I'm just going to mention and just do like a one little explanation and move on because we don't want the video to be too long after all. So let's hop right into it. Okay, so one of the first lessons that I have learned throughout my 25 years is that it is important to know yourself. Knowing yourself gives you clarity on key decisions that you need to make in your life. It also gives you comfort in making these decisions because at the end of the day, knowing yourself, you know that these decisions are what will please you. It doesn't matter what others in the background are saying, even though people might share their opinion. At the end of the day, you know what decision is best for you. Number 2 is to always feel gratitude. Always show that you're grateful for things. At the end of the day, we're living a life that, of course, good things are going to be happening to us. People are going to be kind to us. God is going to bless us in a certain way. But what matters most to me is how you respond to these blessings that are coming into your life. Are you going to show that you're grateful? Are you going to thank who you need to thank? Are you going to, if you're a Christian, are you going to give God the praise that he deserves? And that's just something that I've learned recently because last year I think was one of those years where I had to work harder than I had ever worked before for something that I really wanted. And coming into this year, I think this year would have been my year of showing gratitude to people around me who contributed to all of those blessings, and gratitude to God for being with me throughout everything. Number 3 on my list is drawing inspiration from others. By drawing inspiration, I mean having people in your life who inspire you, people in your life who are doing great things, who you are proud of. We often compare ourselves to others, but I've learned not to compare myself in a negative way, but to look at their life and draw inspiration from it. Ask myself, what is it that they did to have such success, and try to apply that to my own life so that I can reap similar or my own success, because at the end of the day, we all have our own story, our own journey, and so it's important to just have people who inspire us. Number 4 is to love yourself regardless of. At the end of the day, we know who we are, which is what I spoke about first, which is really important. It is important to know who you are, and knowing who you are, you can learn to love yourself. Sometimes we beat up ourselves for trivial things that we think are important, when at the end of the day, a couple of years from now, you're going to wonder, oh, why was I behaving, or why was I reacting this way? But just love yourself, and loving yourself, again, it means that you're making the best decision for yourself. You're able to look out for yourself. Yes, you'll have people who are looking out for you, but also you are your biggest fan. You're someone who know what you want and make decision that nurtures who you are and who you want to be. And number 5 is to always work for what you want. A lot of times we have big dreams, we have huge aspirations, huge long list of goals, but these things, they just remain goals and aspirations and dreams if we do not act on them. So something I've learned is to always work towards what I want. I literally write down everything. If you go on my phone, you will find at least one app that you can use to make a plan or make notes, and I have books like these, so I write things down. But I don't want things to just be written down. I want to act. I want to do what I need to do to ensure that I get or I achieve what I hope to achieve in life. And number 6 is take time to relax. Yes, we live in a very busy world where I think people romanticize, or they make it seem like being busy all the time is what you're supposed to be doing. It is what is best. If you relax for a few minutes, if you take a day off, so you're not going to do anything in a day, a lot of people feel guilty about that. But it is important to relax, and when you relax, you get a chance to be mindful of all that you're doing and to just reflect and see if what you're doing is bringing you to where you want to be. And so it's just important to have those quiet moments, those moments where there's nobody else, it's just you. And relaxing doesn't even mean that you need to think about work or the goals that you need to achieve. It also could mean just sitting down, watching television for the entire day if you feel to, because this is relaxing. You choose how you want to relax. It could mean reading a book, it could mean doing something that you're passionate about. Relaxing is just taking your mind off of things that are stressful and the day-to-day life, and more so just sinking into that moment where you feel like you don't need to worry. Number 7 is to practice patience, and this is something that I really learned a lot about back in 2022 when I was working so hard for so many things. I was very impatient. Like I said before, I am a planner, and so sometimes I can get in and over my head about things. I believe that certain things should be happening at a certain time, and if it doesn't happen at that certain time, then I'm late on that, it's not possible anymore. But that is not the case. Sometimes we just have to be patient while we work for something. Sometimes it's not about our plan, it's about the plan that God has for you, and it's not about our timeline, it is about His timeline. So yes, I can write a million things in this book about all the things that I want to achieve at a particular time, but at the end of the day, I do not have the last say. God, He writes the will of my life, and so I just have to go and live and let Him do His thing, and just pray for Him to guide me to understand His will. Number 8 is to value your health. As young people, sometimes we misunderstand the fact that yes, we are young right now, we are full of energy, but there is going to come a point where the body fat is going to be hard to get rid of. The type of food that we eat is going to affect us later on. You have diabetes, you have different health issues that we must be mindful of. And also, disregarding the future, what about now? Do you want to look your best now? Because I was once told that what you put into your body is what's going to be reflected on your outside. So for me, I have issues with acne, and so you might probably see a few spots in my face. That is because sometimes I tend to eat a lot of sweet food. I tend not to drink water like I should. I tend not to eat vegetables like I should, and so because of that, because of what I'm eating, it's what you're seeing. Number 9 is do not speak out of anger, because if you say something, once it is out there, you cannot take it back. And I'm going to put a scripture somewhere here. I can't remember it off the top of my head. I'm not blessed like everybody else who can just pop up with a scripture and quote it. I'm not like that. but I'm going to be sharing it here because at one point in my life I was very angry. I was angry at almost everybody in my life who had big impact because I thought that they made decisions that affected my life terribly. I'm not going to go into details of all of that, but just know that whatever you put out there, you cannot get it back. So when you're angry, try not to express yourself. Listen to what the person say and then you process it. And then when you are, more calm, you come back and you either respond to the person or you decide to forget about it, because sometimes forgetting about it is good. Number 10 is to give everything your best. So in everything that you do not give 50%, do not give 10%, give everything 100%, so that at the end of the day, when you look back, if you did fail, you can say, oh, I gave that my all. Well, if you fail and you gave 10%, then you have space for questions like, if I gave the other 90%, would I have still failed? So it's best to just give your best, and when other people see that you give your best, then you'll be applauded for it and you'll be rewarded for it. Number 11, which is something I am still learning about, is to save money and learn to invest. You're not going to be 25 forever. You're not going to be 24 forever. You make this decision now to save and to invest, so that at couple of years from now, when you are retiring, you're not worried. And personally, I save and I'm learning about investment mainly because I want kids and I do not want my children to go through what I go through, which is trying to create wealth for myself because it was not provided for me by my family. So I am trying not only to work for myself but for my future kids, and so that their kids can have something to fall back on. Hopefully they will be working to add to what my partner and I are working on right now. But that is really my goal right now, to build wealth for myself so that my next generation can come and enjoy it and they do not have to struggle. And number 12, it's not okay, but it's okay to fail. So none of us are ever going to be happy with failure, but sometimes it is okay because these failures set us up for success. For example, you did a job interview, you did not get accepted, but that's not what God wants for you. That's not where you're supposed to go, possibly because your co-workers would be toxic, the work environment would not be healthy, and God foresaw that, and He realized that's something that you have been trying to escape. You don't want to try to escape something only to go back into it. So sometimes things happen for the best, and that's just it. Number 13 is to value friendship and family. Friendship and family is very important to me now that I have moved away from my family and most of my friends. I have realized even more the importance of having them. The Bible did say that men did it. Anyways, if I do find something, I think there's something in the Bible that says that men should not be alone, because look at Adam. When God realized that Adam was lonely and he was in the garden alone, He gave him Eve. They were perfect for each other. They made each other happy. So I think that God wants us to be with people, talk to people, have relationship with people, show love with people. After all, He did say to show love, and you can't just show love to yourself. You have to also show love to people. I want people to be in my life who they can depend on me and I can depend on them. Number 14 is to always keep growing. Keep growing financially, keep growing spiritually, keep growing in your job. When you realize that things are the same for years on top of years and something is wrong, you can't remain stagnant. You have to keep moving, keep growing, keep seeing changes, keep seeing improvement. And for me, that is important. When I realize that things are not changing, like I'm not satisfied with something and yet it is not changing, I get concerned and I try to fix it, which is what I would recommend for everybody who wants to have a happy and fulfilling life. Number 15, which I have been trying so hard to work on, is to don't take everything so serious. I used to be so serious about everything. Yes, I'm a very emotional person, and so if you're in my life, I want you to be aware that you have to be careful with the things that you say. Yes, I can joke, and that's what this is all about, not taking everything so seriously. So yes, I can joke, but there are certain things that I will not accept from you. Like if you make certain jokes about me or the people that I love, or anybody around me who I think if they were around they would not want you to say that, I will not accept that as a joke. But I am trying not to take things too serious. For example, if I fail at something, I'm trying not to go over my head about it. I'm trying not to be angry at myself about it, but I'm just trying to laugh it off and say, you know what, life goes on. Let me just see what I need to do. Because sometimes when we allow things to get to us, like failures or somebody getting upset at us to the point where we get angry, it clouds our judgment, and so because of that we don't really make the best decisions. Number 16, which I think is so beautiful. It says, be the light you want to see in the world. Jesus did say that we're supposed to be the light in this dark world. And that is something that I want. It means being kind. It means being honest with people. It means just looking out for your fellow human beings, being the best version of yourself, being a fruit of Jesus. It means just being an inspiration for others in the most positive way. I love it. That's my favorite one so far. Okay, let's go to 17. We don't want this video to be long and winded. So number 17 says, things are never as bad as they seem. A lot of times things happen, like something happens that we hadn't planned for. Like for example, let me give you a real life example. On my wedding day, my cake fell apart when my husband was bringing it to the car. I bawled my eyes out because I'm a perfectionist, and the day was going so good. It was going beautifully until that point, and the wedding ended and everything, but I cried because I was so upset. And it was just a cake. I reflected on it, and it was just a cake. People still ate the cake. We still shared it up, and the wedding happened. Everyone went home. We had our wedding night. After that, we had pure fun. So that night, that moment, it taught me to, just step back from things when they happen, and to just, maybe do a little laugh over it and just move on, because things could have gone worse. It could have fallen apart during the wedding when everybody was sitting around and having fun, but that did not happen. Like the devil will creep up on you and try to steal your joy in some moments, but you must never allow it. Smile in spite of. Things are never as bad as they seem. And we tend not to realize that in the moment, so that's the awful part. Okay, number 18, don't worry about things out of your control. Same thing, it connects back to number 17. Sometimes we can't control things, and we just have to move on. We just have to laugh and move on, and that's just that. Number 19, comparison is the thief of joy. Sometimes we are so blessed. We are so blessed. We woke up in the morning. We are not hungry. We have grocery in our house. And yet we compare ourselves to people. I used to compare myself so badly to my classmates who had better jobs. I used to compare myself because my upbringing was so different from other people's upbringing. But then I noticed that that wasn't doing anything for me. All it did was made me sad. And yes, sometimes I go back into those, moments where I compare myself, I compare my career, because I might think that my career is not progressing as it should, whereas other persons who are my age group, they're progressing perfectly, because I do not know what they're going through in the background. I do not know what they had to go through to get what they had. And so I just stopped comparing myself and told myself that, you know what, my journey is different. So I will just go through my journey, write my own story, write my own script until I am where I have been praying so badly to be. Okay, we are almost there. Ooh! Alright, I have 5 remaining, so I'm at number 20, which says, no one but you is responsible for your happiness. I learned this year. I learned it this year when I moved away from a lot of people in my life. So I was not close to people like I used to physically, and I only had my husband in this house. Like, we don't have kids or anything. So I learned to just be happy on my own. There are moments when I'm here alone, and I just learned to enjoy my own company. Not all the time my friends are going to be available for a video call. I think it's very unfair, it's very selfish to put your happiness into other people, as in depend on them to make you happy, because they are people. They go through things too, they struggle too. And so yes, both you and your partner can make each other happy, but what happens when your partner is not around, your partner is busy with work, your partner do not really have as much time as they used to? Are you going to just be depressed and sad? So I've learned that this year to just find happiness in my own self, just to be responsible for my own happiness. 21, never just assume. Sometimes assumption can get us in trouble. Assuming that someone would love something, assuming that you're on the job, assuming that your client would hate something. It's best to just ask the questions. When I was in journalism school, I was taught by one of my favorite lecturers that it is best to ask a stupid question rather than to not ask and look stupid later. So I am now asking more questions whether or not people like it. When I used to go to school, like in university, people who didn't assume and used to ask all the questions, a lot of persons thought that they were enough, like they were in everything because they were asking questions and voicing opinion and all of that. And I've learned that those persons, they weren't necessarily enough. They were just asking, the right questions so that they didn't need to assume things, which is important. All right, we're getting there. Okay, so we are at number 22. You cannot receive what you did not give. That's so beautiful. Oh my God. That is perfect in its own way. You have to give to receive. The Bible did say that we're supposed to be kind. It's one of the fruits. It's one of those fruits of Jesus. So be kind and give willingly. So I believe personally that you could be making $1 million, $1 trillion, thousands of dollars, and it wouldn't make sense if you are, unless you are giving back in some way. So kindness is important, and I believe what goes around comes around. If you're kind to people, then God will be kind to you and other persons will be kind to you. It also comes down to how you treat people. If you treat people well, then people will treat you well, and Jesus will also treat you well. So what goes around comes back around. Do unto others as you wish for them to do to you. Perfect. All right, number 23. This is not so long after all. Give yourself grace. So many times we're upset at ourselves for making certain decisions, and we find it so hard to forgive ourselves. As Christians, we sin and we get upset at ourselves, and we tend, to drift away from God in those moments because we think, oh, I'm such a bad person. I do not deserve to have a relationship with God. Let me just, take some time. But You're not supposed to take any time. You're just supposed to go back to him and confess and move on. Similar, just confess to yourself whenever you do stupid things or things that you think are stupid, and just move on with your life. Just give yourself grace. We all make mistakes, and it's better to just realize those mistakes and figure out what you're going to do next. Number 24. I was this age a couple months ago. And number 24 is to live in the moment. I think this is something us 20-something-year-olds, we have a big issue with. Like, as soon as we achieve something, we want to go on to the next goal. And that was me this year. Like any other new year or like any end of year, I made some goals back in 2022, and I have achieved, I think only, let's be honest, I achieved none of those goals. I worked towards them, however, I don't think my timing is correct, and so what can I do? I was sad about it at first, but right now I'm just accepting everything and telling myself that, you know, everything happens for a reason. And I was in such a hurry too to achieve the next thing, because after, you know, if you watch my previous videos, then you would know some of the events that took place in my life last year and the earlier part of this year. And after reflecting on some of those things, I realized that this is my year to live in the moment. And it's so sad that I realized that just a few weeks ago. Now we have gone over half of the year and we have just a few months remaining, and it saddens me that I did not live in the moment earlier. I was so focused on what is next and working towards what is next, and it's so weird. Nothing worked out the way I wanted it to, but after much reflecting, I have come to accept everything and to just tell myself that, you know what, another time, let me just live in the moment of everything that I have and give myself some grace, like I mentioned before, and yes, focus on what is next, but also to just be appreciative of what I have now and what I achieved earlier. Alright, number 25, the big 25, the big 25. Alright, you don't need to know what is next. Oh my god, I did not do that intentionally, guys. I just wrote things down as they came to mind. Like, you don't need to know. It connected back to 24, which was live in the moment. You don't need to know what is next. That's okay. You do not need to know. So what? Yes, you have your goals, but you're not sure if you're going to get those, because at the end of the day, you did not write the script for your life. Yes, this is the decisions that you make, they affect things, but I firmly believe that God is the sole author of our lives. Yes, I will continue to write things down because that gives me comfort, and I will continue to work hard towards things because that's what I'm comfortable doing, and that's what I think that I should continue to do. But I am not worried about what is next at all. I am just living in the moment. I am doing everything to the best of my ability, and not needing to know what is next does not mean that you completely abandon your goals or whatever. No, it just means being comfortable in the fact that you do not know, you have no idea what's going to be happening. So, and that's okay. Guys, I just went through 3 pages. Like one, let me come a little closer. 1, 2, 3. I have never been more brief in my entire life, and I will probably regret saying this when I'm editing the video because things are never as they seem. Thank you guys so much for watching. I can't believe that I went through 25 things so quickly, but I thank you for watching. I thank you for sticking to the end if you're still here. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you in the next video.